Have you ever wondered how a flower turns into fruit? Or how something as small as a bee helps feed the world? It turns out pollination is full of surprises, including a little bit of electricity. Today we're diving into one of nature's coolest systems and the tiny creatures that keep it all going. We are the lazy botanists. Now let's get into it.
First up, we have the well-known bees. As they fly through the air, bees build up a tiny electric charge, kind of like when you rub your feet on a carpet. Flowers have a gentle negative charge, so when the bee lands, pollen jumps onto its body, almost like a microscopic magnet. Even cooler, bees can sense a flower's electric field and tell if it's already been visited. Not bad for something with the brain size of a sesame seed. Then there are butterflies. They help transfer pollen while fluttering from flower to flower, often drawn to brightly colored blooms. Their long, straw-like tongues, called a proboscis, let them reach nectar deep inside the narrow flowers that bees might ignore. Hummingbirds use their hovering skills and long beaks to drink nectar while brushing against flowers' anthers. They can visit hundreds of flowers per day, and they especially love tubular red flowers that match their energy needs. Bats may not seem like pollinators, but in tropical regions they are essential. They visit flowers at night and are the main pollinators of plants like agave, mangoes, and bananas. Beetles are among the oldest known pollinators, going back over 100 million years. They're clumsy but thorough, often chewing on petals and rolling around in the pollen while they feed. And even wind and water act as pollinators, though in a different way. Wind carries huge amounts of lightweight pollen for trees, grasses, and crops like corn, while water moves pollen between aquatic plants like pondweeds. Together, all these pollinators help over 75% of flowering plants grow, reproduce, and keep ecosystems thriving.
So now that we've met the pollinators, how does pollination actually work? Each flower has either a male part, called the stamen, or a female part, called the pistil. Some flowers known as perfect flowers have both. Pollination happens when pollen from the stamen is transferred to the pistil. That transfer is what allows a plant to produce seeds and eventually fruits. While some plants can pollinate themselves, most need a little bit of help. That's where pollinators really come in. When a pollinator such as a bee or hummingbird visits a flower to collect nectar, pollen sticks to their body. When they visit the next flower, that pollen rubs off into the pistil, and boom, pollination. It might sound small, but this simple action is what keeps much of the plant world going.
Now, pollination isn't just about the flowers. It's about food, your food. About 1 in every 3 bites of food we eat depends on pollinators. That includes fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, chocolate, and even coffee. When visited by pollinators, these foods are more flavorful and crops show higher yields. But the importance goes far beyond farms and grocery stores. Pollination helps wild plants grow too. Wild plants are essential as food and shelter for local fauna like birds and insects. Through pollination, plants continue to reproduce and keep ecosystems like forests, prairies, and grasslands thriving. Strong plant presence prevents erosion and purifies water through nutrient uptake. Both the carbon and water cycle depend on plants to function. Moisture released by plants returns to the atmosphere as part of the water cycle. Carbon dioxide is taken up by plants through photosynthesis and releases oxygen, playing a critical role in the carbon cycle.
So here's the problem. Pollinators are in trouble. Pesticides used in farming can poison bees and butterflies. Habitat loss from roads, lawns, and other human constructions means fewer flowers and fewer safe places to live. Climate change messes with flowering times, meaning pollinators might show up too early or too late. Bees especially are facing massive population drops in some areas, and if they disappear, it could send some shockwaves through our entire food system.
Now here's the good news. You can help, even if you don't have a garden. Planting native flowers on your balcony, in your yard, or at your school can support local pollinators who may be specialized for native plants only. Pollen of non-native plants may not meet the same nutrient requirements that local pollinators are adapted to, and even planting one flower can feed a hungry bee or butterfly. Don't use chemical pesticides, especially during spring and summer when pollinators are busiest. Insecticides and fungicides containing neonicotinoids and herbicides containing glyphosates are widespread pesticides that can cause harm to pollinators, even if that was not the intent. And despite not being in direct contact, pollinators could still bring traces of pesticides back to other pollinators, causing harm to the entire population. You can buy local produce or support farms that use pollinator-friendly practices. Even if you're not actively using pesticides or planting native flora, who you buy produce from might. By researching companies or shopping locally, you are supporting businesses to continue pursuing pollinator-friendly practices. You can join a citizen science project like iNaturalist or Bee Spotter to help track pollinator health. As pollinators face dangers of pesticides and loss of habitat, it is important to track how populations are doing. Even just a picture of a honeybee on a flower can go a long way in assessing pollinator health in a location. By keeping an eye out for pollinators and sharing this information, you can play a role in tracking populations to ensure their health and future success. Finally, just gaining an understanding and appreciation for pollinators goes a long way. By learning and sharing information, you are increasing awareness and creating a cheer squad for the busy pollinators that keep our world alive.
Pollination is one of nature's most amazing systems. It's how plants make seeds, it's how flowers become fruit, it's how we get food, and how the natural world stays alive. It all depends on tiny, hardworking creatures like bees, birds, butterflies, and beetles. So the next time you see one buzzing by, give it a smile, or even better, plant a flower for it. Thanks for watching, and if you learned something today, give this video a like, share it with someone you care about, and help protect the pollinators that keep life blooming.